You hear that? That's the constant sound that kept me from sleeping for the first 2 weeks that I moved into this apartment, and put me into a state of psychosis for 3 months. My name is Jessica Newman. I live in apartment 321, building 3, Senator Conness Apartments, 2754 Native Oak Drive, Chico, California, 95928. We're going to go inside so you can see how noisy it is from the inside of the apartment as well. As you can see, this is the inside of my apartment. In a few minutes, we'll hear some noisiness, which basically ruined my life, ruined my relationships with people back home. Part of my religion is practicing loving kindness, and I was very mean to a lot of people, and I have been basically punishing myself. I fell in love for the first time in my life. No doubt whatsoever, 1,000,000% love, without a doubt, and it was mutual. And that's it. And here's the bedroom. You could hear it in the bedroom too. I'm in the bedroom now. Hear how loud that is? When I arrived here, I drove 7 states, all the way from Tennessee. So when I arrived, I was exhausted, very tired. And I was so tired that I didn't notice that sound kept me from sleeping deeply for 2 weeks. I went into a state of extreme irritability and extreme crying and exhaustion. I was screaming. I had my windows open and I was screaming at the top of my lungs, crying hysterically. All of the neighbors could hear me. When I would go into town, my body language was really weird, so everyone thought I was insane, which I was basically. Not the best impression made on a new town that I just moved to, where I don't know anyone here at all. So all my neighbors avoid me. When I walk outside the building, no one wants to talk to me. Someone outside is screaming. I don't know what they're saying. Yeah, basically ruined a bunch of important friendships that I've had for a long time. I never believed in love until I met Barry Nelson Nash. And I knew him. He was my usher at a movie theater. I'd go to the movie theater every week by myself. And I love going to the movies by myself. And I've never been interested in relationships or getting married, I never even believed in love until I met Barry Nelson Nash. And so because I was in because I was in a state of extreme exhaustion, hyper irritability. I screamed at him on the phone. That's not part of my personality. I don't do that. I basically just never yell at people ever. But Barry will probably, our relationship will never be the same. He'll never think of me in the same way. He'll never really want to be with me ever again. And I cry about it pretty frequently still. It's been 6 months. I cry at least every other day. The walls here are so thin that I can hear what all of the neighbors are saying, or the neighbors that I share one wall with, that wall on this side. I can hear what they're saying, and all day long, and they make comments about what I'm doing in my home almost every day, constantly, from the moment I wake up in the morning to when I'm in the bathroom to when I'm in the kitchen. I can constantly hear everything they say, and they make really rude comments all the time. A couple of days ago, the girl that lives over there said I hate her probably over 100 times in one day. I don't really know who she's talking about, but I really feel like it might be me that she's talking about, because when I talk to myself in my apartment, they make comments all the time about what I'm saying. Oh, isn't that lovely? Oh, isn't that lovely sound? Let's go take a look at the vent. It also completely ruined my career, because when I was performing, I was so out of it that I was saying things that I never should have said on stage, and it was recorded and posted online. And so a lot of people now think that I'm racist and all kinds of things, because I was also physically assaulted because of the videos. I've never been physically assaulted in my life. The police did nothing. I called the police. They didn't do anything. They sent a couple rookies. Let's go inside and see what that... See, this window is closed. I'll show you how this window is closed. See, the window is completely closed. This is the window. That's the vent on the outside. This is the stove. You hear that? So let's go in the whoa, that was really, see how isn't that terrible? It's horrifying. And nobody that worked in the office warned me about it or anything. Nobody did. And to top it all off, when I moved in here, there was glass all over the floor. So half of this floor, like half of the kitchen, half of the living room, half of the bedroom, and half of the bathroom floor were covered in glass. There were tiny bits of glass all over half of those rooms, and it took me 3 months to sweep it up. Let's see what else. Oh yeah, and there's also somebody threw, I don't know how this happened, but somehow there was a ton of sawdust in this right here, the above stove vent. When I would turn on the fan, a ton of sawdust would come flying out of the stove. And they finally fixed it after like 3 months or 4 months or something. Oh, lovely sound, isn't it? It's pretty damn loud. And the other apartments aren't like this. Just mine. I did request a third level floor. I'm not saying they did it intentionally, but they should have at least fixed it. I don't know why they didn't fix it. I had to fix it myself. I didn't even know where the noise was coming from. I was so completely out of my mind. I couldn't even figure out what, I thought it was coming from the roof or something. And then finally, a nice maintenance man, they sent him up, and he said, this is where the noise is coming from, but he said, I'm not allowed to fix it. So I had to fix it myself. Let's go back out and take a visit to the vent, shall we? So the way that I stopped the vent from making so much noise for these past like 3 months is by sticking a piece of, it's like, it's not in there now because I took it out, that's why it's making noise, but it's like a piece of duct tape with like fabric inside, and I just stuck it in there and fixed it. And I didn't feel myself until at least like 2.5 months later. And then there was a whole bunch of stuff where people kept like banging and waking me up and stuff like that in the middle of the night. I still don't understand why they were doing that. Somebody was like waking me up. I don't know why they were doing that. Probably a bunch of teenagers. Hopefully not adults, because that would be sad. I thought that somebody, like just a couple weeks ago, somebody kept like waking me up in the middle of the night by banging like under my bed and waking me up like in the middle of the night. And I got like, if you know, all human beings, when they don't sleep, really sucks. I also have 2 jobs here that I'm supposed to be starting, and I probably won't even be able to like do them because people will keep waking me up in the early morning. And hear the sound of hell, the sound of Chico, the sound of having a horrible reputation in a town where no one knows you. Isn't that lovely? Completely screwed up my life here. Yeah, my one chance at love. And the sad thing is, like, people talk about love and you're like, oh, have you ever been in love? And they're like, yeah, I think so. And then you find out that they married their husband for his money or because he's successful. Barry is not successful. I'm completely in love with him for the person he is. It has nothing to do with how much money he has. He's the person that I always needed my whole life. And I was abused by my family. And that's part of the reason why I moved here. My sister Mary has Machiavellian personality type. My sister Connie is cluster B. They work together as a team by lying, scheming, and plotting. And neither one of them can experience empathy. And neither one of them feels any, what's it called, amoral. So they're completely amoral. So everything they do is for themselves. They're completely self-serving. And I'm 45 years old, and I didn't realize that they were doing this until like a couple of years ago, or actually like last year, because my dad was a vegetable for 2 years last year, and Mary, the Machiavellian, was under he was put into a home that was a really understaffed home, and he was already a vegetable, like he could barely speak, but he could still smile and laugh. And then under Mary Machiavellian Mary, my sister, she approved the sedation. So for the last year of his life, He could not laugh or smile or speak any single words. It was the most horrifying thing I've ever seen in my life. My father worked his ass off to provide for my family for our entire lives. And this is the way they treated him. And can experience empathy. I am an empath, and I can feel it when other people are hurting or animals are hurting, physically and emotionally. So I had to witness my nephews and my niece being emotionally and physically abused by my sisters Mary and Connie, and it was the most horrible thing I've ever seen. So part of the reason why I moved here was to get away from them, so I never have to see them again, ever again. And then you top that with the fact that my parents intentionally underfed me and my siblings, which resulted in 3 out of the 4 of the children developing chronic mental health disorders because our brains did not develop adequately because we did not just receive adequate nutritional intake while our brains were developing. Anyway, I don't even know if that's related to this, but basically, you try to make your life better. This is what happens. There's loud ass noise in a place where nobody cares and everybody hates you and they say horrible things about you through the walls all the time, and you have to listen to it. Or you come here to make this place a better place. And this is the way they treat you, and they don't bother telling you about the noise or the glass. They don't clean up the glass all over the floor or fix the sand, the sawdust. I have to show you again that this is actually the vent that's making this noise. There's something in the first lease that we signed that said we're not allowed to have ladders. I thought that was really weird. There you go. See how the apartment to the left, that vent is completely stable. It is not moving at all. It is completely still. The vent flap on the right is mine. That's the one that's making all the noise. See. I would have really liked to get to know the people of Chico, but my first days here screwed everything up. I was also physically assaulted for the first time. Did I mention that while I was here? That was fun. Oh yeah, I already mentioned that. That was fun. Yeah. I'd never been physically assaulted before in my entire life until I came here. Anyway, I think we got enough of the horrid noise for now. Here's my apartment. Bye-bye, and fuck you, R Horton. You're gonna suck my dick hard. And so is Senator Conness and eCambridge.